Thanks for making us a part of your morning. This is Good Morning PD on Live 95.
Welcome to Good Morning PD Live 95. Takes Mondays to make Fridays. I want to talk a little bit about the Grammys. We certainly will not spend the balance of our time discussing it. You watched none of the Grammys.
Zero.
Last night. Alec, you watched any of the Grammys last night?
I didn't even know the Grammys was on.
Okay, well, I watched a little bit live, and it really got to the point. It was Bizarro World.
And I used to really like the Grammys.
Sure.
I felt like it was part of my show prep to watch the Grammys for years.
Well, you saw music.
Exactly.
You saw performances by great musical artists from different genres of music, and now it's all about an assault on conservatism, individual liberties, and the things that Republicans hold near and dear. And it goes back to the conversation that we had Friday. Jernigan's not here to defend himself, but you and I had a sidebar conversation after our show on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It is basically a resistance party now. There is, it's a party void of ideas.
Well, I am waiting to hear the message or the ideas, anything other than Trump sucks. That's all you hear.
That's it for them.
And I'm all up for debating ideas.
Think about this.
Course.
Think about this. And we should debate ideas. There should be a very valid debate about immigration reform. What is the proper way to enforce law of the land as it relates to immigration? That should be a very legitimate debate. But let's think about this. If you are a Republican and you're running in the 2018 midterms, the only thing you can run on is the anti-Trump message. You have no other message. Here's what the Democrats stand for today. How can we insult anybody who believes marriage is between one man and one woman? That's one of their priorities. You've got to be an outcast. If you believe fundamentally that marriage is between a man and a woman, then you are a closed-minded, bigoted soul. The Democrat parties, one of their priorities is to be so inclusive of who can get married. Okay, we've had that debate. The Supreme Court has settled that. Reb, here's another priority for the Democrats. How can we make abortion easily and more readily available? That's a priority of the Democrats. Look at their policies. Look at what they fund. Look at the Obama administration's pronouncements and actions. So there are two things that the Democrats stand for. They'll let you know. So do you go on the stump and you say, hey, vote for me, and I'll offend everybody who believes marriage is between one man and one woman. And while I'm doing that, I'll figure out a way to make abortion easily and more readily available. And if we work hard enough, we'll get the government to pay for it. That's what you get when you allow an agitator to become the spokesperson for a major political party. You get off the reservation. And the only place it appears to be in the mainstream are these nut jobs in Hollywood who were at the Grammys last night. It's a group of people who, for whatever reason, hold their opinions in such high regard. The reason I don't like award shows is because I think celebrities do a good enough job of thinking the world centers around them. They don't need a room full of other celebrities to tell them one another how important they believe you are and he believes she is, and I respect your work and you respect my work, and we're changing the world, and we're all, we're the best of the best, we're the brightest of the bright. No, you're not. You're a singer or a performer. Think about an actor or an actress. You know what they get paid to do? Pretend they're somebody they're not. And the American public puts some level and degree of faith and value in what those people say. We care. Are we a country that really considers what Bruno Mars? That's a stupid name anyway. What Bruno Mars says about American foreign policy? Have we got to the place that the American public really and seriously consider what Jay-Z says about political pronouncements? Are we really educating and informing ourselves by listening to Cher and what Cher says about foreign intervention and tax policy and immigration reform? Really? The answer is yes. That about half this country put some stock and value in these idiots' opinions, and that's what they are. They're idiotic opinions. And they have a book that has been proven to be inaccurate by and large, and they build the award show around different artists and former politicians like Hillary Clinton reading the book. And that's the Grammy Awards? We've devolved into this, I don't know, this society that about half of us, for whatever reason, can. And these are the people that say, who in the world would listen and pay attention to anything said on Fox News? I mean, these are the people questioning mine and your judgment for listening to Fox News. And it's probably the most politically illiterate group of people in the American discourse. They're famous. And I guess in America, for some reason, famous means smart. I hope not. I hope we've not gotten there. But I believe about half the country are completely off their rocker. And the majority of those people are Democrats. I hate to go down this road, but it goes back to the conversation we had with Jernigan Friday. There is no idea there. There is no governing philosophy there. Once again, their priorities. Let's take tax reform as an example. You are willing to run in a midterm, and this should be a slam dunk, but because of our ill-informed electorate, it probably won't be. If you're running an election, all you should have to say is, I am supportive of you keeping more of your money. My challenger, the Democrat, is not. Not a Democrat in Washington supported tax reform. Think of that. I mean, you're running under the namesake of a party who basically disagreed with you being able to keep more of your money because somebody else is going to be able to keep more of their money. We're going to make abortions real easy. We're going to make abortions readily available, and we're going to try our damnedest to figure out a way to make the government pay for it. But we're not going to be for tax reform that includes you keeping more of your money. And there's a group of people who are going to vote for that. There's a group of people in America that don't believe you should have to work to receive Medicaid benefit. They're adamantly opposed to that. And I'm thinking about the Democrats, and I'm thinking about the midterm, and I try my best to understand who the American people are. And I celebrate the day that Trump got elected because for whatever reason, the American people did not allow Hollywood and the media and all these other people to basically jerk their chain and put them in line and do what they were told to do like robots. And we've done that in many, many elections. But I watched the Grammys last night. Not all of it, because I'm flipping back and forth the basketball game to the Grammys and a couple of other things I was trying to pay attention to. And I'm going, who believes this? Who pays any attention to this absolute moronic nonsense?
You'd probably be surprised.
Oh, I'm incredibly surprised. I've got to be surprised. The Grammys are there to celebrate music and musicians. And I think of the Stones, and I think of the Beatles, and I think of Springsteen, and I don't care anything for the music, but I think of Tupac Shakur, and I think of Miranda Lambert, and I think of Kenny Chesney, and I think of Jay-Z for that matter in that genre. I mean, I don't like that sort of music, but still, you tip your hat. I think of Michael Jackson. I think of Prince. I think of all these great musicians. Play your music. Let us appreciate. Let us admire your music. You are enormously talented in that field. But when you open your mouth and when you try to give political commentary, you appear as foolish as you are to about half the country. But for whatever reason, Rev, there's one half of this country, probably not a half, it's probably closer to a third, who believe with every fiber of their being that because John Legend has a hit song, he has a more informed political opinion. And I'll say this before we take our next break. If we ever get to a place where we allow those forces that were in play last night at the Grammys to have any say-so whatsoever in the running or organizing of this country, we're done. We're done. And Hillary Clinton goes on there and reads a book, and we celebrate. And I mean, the building nearly lost their mind when they saw that it was her. Why? Because it's not Trump. And their political party is void of ideas. It is a vacuum. It is a wasteland. It is a resistance movement. That's all it is. And it all goes back to what I would argue is probably the worst president we've ever had in my lifetime, including Jimmy Carter, and that's Barack Obama. Barack Obama has agitated this country to a place where the only thing the Democrat Party has going for them is they're not Donald Trump, or they're not whoever the Republican nominee would have been. And we're counting on this party to be a part of honest debate and discourse in governing the country. And we're going to talk in a second about a story to do with Trey Gowdy and Devin Nunes, and it's a memo, and I think it may be released today. I'm not sure of that, but I think there's probably a decent chance that the memo gets released today. Rev, I guess what I'm arguing is, and I'll take a couple of minutes and we'll take our break. We've been told by certain forces in American politics for the last 10 or 15 or 18 years that the Republicans are the ones who have lost their way. They've allowed this fringe to be such a dominant. I listened to somebody yesterday on Meet the Press. You know, the big problem is the left and the far right. What's the word missing there?
Far left.
There is no far left.
Yeah.
There is no far left in New York. There is no far left in Hollywood. There is no far left in California. There is no far left in those liberal circles that Obama so permeated, Obama so controlled, and Obama so agitated. You've got an activist party that's one of the two major political forces in America today, absolutely and completely empty of any governing ideas. Once again, you're going to run in a midterm, and your message has to be, if it's not, I'm not as bad as the other guy, then what is it? I can tell you what it is. If you're an Obama Democrat, if you are running as an Obama Democrat, there are 3 or 4 things you're running on. I don't want you working and keeping more of your money. I think that is fundamentally wrong. We've got to fully fund the government, and the only way to fully fund the government is for us to confiscate more and more of your money. That's a fundamental belief within the Democratic Party today. If it were not, there would have been Democrat votes for tax reform, because 88 to 92% of Americans will do what? Keep more of their own money. The Democrats said, we don't like that. The reason we don't like it is because you get to keep proportionally more of your money, but the fat cats get to keep more of theirs as well. And that's a fundamental problem we've got. We probably don't have a problem. We probably don't have a problem with you working folk keeping more of your money. We could probably put up with that, but the well-to-do are going to be able to keep more of their money as well, and we can't have that. I mean, the government needs it. And we've got to fund the government to enact all these policies. So in essence, you're running as a Democrat, and you're basically disagreeing with the notion of you as a working person should be entitled to keep more and more of your money. That's not a radio show host saying it. There's a vote that has been cast as clearly as a bell. How many Democrats voted for tax reform? None. There's not a Democrat in America that believes in 88 to 92% of you keeping your own money. You know what they do believe in, though? Let's confuse marriage. Let's confuse marriage. No, civil union, no, guys. Look, marriage is the word that means so much to them. Let's confuse the hell out of them. Well, I mean, they said civil unions would be fine and we could work out some legal. No. Do you not understand me? We are here to agitate. We are activists. We are on a mission. It's got to be the word marriage. It can't be civil unions. It can't be any legal arrangement. Why? Because that word means something to them. They like keeping their own money, and they like marriage being between a man and a woman. And guess what? They kind of like making abortion difficult. So let's do everything within our power to make it easier and more affordable for people to get abortions. 16-year-olds, they don't have to tell their parents. How stupid is that? If a 16-year-old gets pregnant, they want to tell her parents, let's find some government money, let's fund that abortion. That's what this party has become. And when you watch the Grammys, it's very symbolic of that party. It is a movement. Once again, it is not a governing party. It is a bunch of nut jobs who had a nut job as a president who has picked and agitated a group of people into believing that those are the most important issues of the day. And the sad commentary is we've got a certain segment of this population that care what Bruno Mars thinks about immigration reform, who put stock in what Snoop Dogg thinks about Iran and Iraq, and what Cher believes in tax reform. Wow. You've got an activist party that's one of the two major political forces in America today, absolutely and completely empty of any governing ideas. And last night it was wacko majackamo on steroids. And if nobody believed it, I'm cool with it. But about 30 to 40% of this country drink the Kool-Aid. Back in a minute. Good morning, PD Live 95.